Hi everyone, today we'll be learning about simultaneous equations. Today we'll be looking at simultaneous equations with three variables. Okay, so I've put up an equation which has three linear equations. So we need to find the coordinates for both x, y, and z. Okay, so now let's solve. Okay, so I've put up this equation. It says x plus y plus z is equal to 6, and x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 10, and x plus 3y plus 7z is equal to 16. Okay, so the first step was to number each equation, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so the next step, so you look for what the easiest step is. So the easiest step in this case is to go equation 2 minus 1, so we can get rid of the x variable. Okay, so equation 2 minus equation 1. So make sure to label each step what you're doing. Okay, so when we do equation 2 minus 1, when we do this, x minus x cancels out, and 2y minus y, which is y, and then plus 3z minus z, which is 2z, and then 10 minus 6, which is 4. So now we have to label this equation 4, as we found our answer. So now we have to do equation 3 minus 2. So next step, equation 3 minus 2. Okay. So x minus x cancels out, 3y minus 2y, which is y, and then 7z minus 3z, which is 4z, so we do plus 4z, and then equals 16 minus 10, which is 6. Okay, so we label this equation 5. So now we've made two new equations. So the next step is to go equation 4 minus 5. So now we can get rid of the y variable. Okay, so equation 4 minus equation 5. So y minus y cancels out. 2z minus 4z minus 2z is equal to 4 minus 6, which is minus 2. And now the next step, so we have to get rid of minus 2 from the left hand side. So by doing this, we're going to go minus 2 divided by minus 2 to both the left hand side and the right hand side. Okay, so now the next step, so we cross out minus 2, and then we're left with z is equal to, so minus 2 divided by minus 2, which is positive 1. Okay, so now we've found what z is. So now we've found the value of z. So z is equal to 1. So now we sub this into 4, equation 4. So when we sub this into equation 4, we get y plus 2, which is equal to 4, because I've replaced z with 1, and 2 times 1, which is 2. Okay, so the next step, so we need to get rid of that 2. So by doing this, we're going to go 2 minus 2, and for the right hand side, we're going to go 4 minus 2. Okay, so that cancels out. We're left with y is equal to 4 minus 2, which is 2. Okay, so now we've found the value of y. So now in the next step, we sub y is equal to 2, and sub, so now we sub z is equal to 1 into equation 1, which is up here. So we get x plus 2 plus 1, as it shows up here, and then is equal to 6. So I've substituted all the values. So I've substituted z is equal to 1 and y is equal to 2 into equation 1. So now we have to find x, which is simple. So we just go x plus 2 plus 1, which is 3, and is equal to 6. And then we have to get rid of 3. So we go minus 3 to both sides. So minus 3, so that cancels out. We're left with x is equal to 6 minus 3, which is 3. Okay, so now I've found all of our points, and our values. So 3 and 2 and 1. So that stands for x, y, and z. Okay. So now when we substitute, so this is how you check if you found the right values. So by doing this, we're going to substitute all of our values back into equation 1. Okay, so we're going to sub x equals 3, y is equal to 2, and z is equal to 1 back into equation 1. So if we get the answer 6, that means our points are right. So when we put x equals 3 into x, we get 3, and then y equals 2 into y, which is 2. And then when we put z into, if we put 1 into z, we get 1, so 1. And then it's equal to, so 3 plus 2 plus 1, which is 6. So 6 is equal to 6, which means left-hand side is equal to our right-hand side. So we have satisfied our equation. Okay, so then that took a lot of steps, but that is how you solve a simultaneous equation. Okay, so now let's do one more, so you'll have a better understanding. Okay, so now let's do x. Oh yeah, I'll just draw up this. Okay, it's not that good though. Okay, so x plus y plus z is equal to, let's do 6 again, but let's do x plus y. Let's do x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 14. And let's label it equation 1 and equation 2. And let's do x plus 3y plus 7z is equal to 28. So that's going to be labeled equation 3. Okay. So, as you might have guessed, the first step is to go equation 2 minus equation 1. Okay, so when we do this, we get rid of the x, so 2y minus y, and then plus 3z minus z, 2z, equals 14 minus 6, 8, and then we label it equation 4. Okay, so our next step is to go equation 3 minus equation 2. So x minus x cancels out. 3y minus 2y is y, plus 7z minus 3z, which is 4z, which is equal to 28 minus 14, 14. Okay, so we label this equation 5. Okay, so now we can draw this again. Okay, so now we do equation 4 minus equation 5. Okay, so equation 4 minus equation 5. So y minus y cancels out. 2z minus 4z minus 2z. And then, so now we go a minus 14 minus 6. And so the next step, we divide by minus 2 to both sides. That cancels out. We're left with z is equal to 3. Okay, so the next step is to sub z is equal to 3 into equation 4. So we're going to go y plus 2 times 3 is equal to 8. Okay, good. So the next step is y plus 2 times 3, which is 6, equals 8. Okay, so, and then we go minus 6 to both sides to get rid of the 6. Y is equal to 8 minus 6. It's minus 6. Okay, so we get 2. Okay. And then we go, I'll just write it down here. Sub y is equal to 2 and z is equal to 3. into equation 1. Okay, so when we sub y is equal to 2 and z is equal to 3 in equation 1, so we get x plus 2 plus 3 is equal to 6. So last of all, we go x plus 5 is equal to 6. Okay, so this is our remaining step. So we go 5 minus 5, and we do minus 5 to both sides to get rid of that 5. So then we get x is equal to 6 minus 5, which is 1. Okay, so last of all, we can sub all our values in to make sure our points or our values are right. Okay, so sub x equals 1, y equals 2, and z equals 3 into equation 1. Okay, so x equals 1, and then y is equal to 2 into equation 1, which is 2, plus z equals 3 into equation 1, so we replace z with 3, and now the remaining step, so it's equal to 6, so when you add these together, you should get 6. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 gives you 6. So 6 is equal to 6. That means our left-hand side is equal to our right-hand side, which means we have satisfied our equation. So hopefully you got this answer, and hopefully you enjoyed this video on simultaneous equations with 3 variables. Okay, bye!